Hello everyone, hello Doc Magan, good day. So recently, I am in my classroom. I'm just done having my classes. And yes, I am about to make a video on the necessity of post-colonial approach to teaching English language and literature. So let's get started now. So the English language and its literature have long been vehicles of cultural and ideological influence, often associated with the legacy of colonialism. As educators, it is our responsibility to critically examine and challenge the power dynamics embedded within these texts and pedagogical approaches. A post-colonial oriented approach to teaching English language and literature is not really or merely an option, but a necessity in today's globalized world. By embracing this perspective, we empower students to become critical thinkers, culturally sensitive individuals, and agents of social change. This video reflects on the importance of integrating post-colonial perspective in the English classroom to foster, of course, a more inclusive and equitable learning environment. And of course, one of the primary reasons for adapting a post-colonial approach is to deconstruct the Eurocentric biases that have historically dominated the field. Traditional English curricula often prioritize canonical works by white, Western authors, marginalizing voices and perspectives from the global South. This can perpetuate a sense of cultural inferiority among students from post-colonial backgrounds, as their own histories and experiences are rendered invisible or significant. By introducing post-colonial literature and theory, we challenge the notion of a single universal literary canon and create space for diverse narratives to be heard and valued. This helps students develop a more nuanced understanding of the world and their place in it. And yes, as I have read thoroughly the article given by Doc Magan, so this article actually offers a compelling exploration of how medieval European concepts of witchcraft have been adapted and reinterpreted within Philippine literature, revealing the enduring influence of colonial power, structures on cultural perceptions of women. The authors, of course, Dr. Rodora Magan and Özlem Gol, effectively trace the historical roots of witch hunts in Europe and demonstrate how these narratives have been internalized and reshaped in post-colonial context. And from a post-colonial standpoint, the article highlights the ways in which the mythical nature of women's identity in the modern era is a direct consequence of colonial imposition. The study focused on Philippine literary texts, such as Adalberto Tiempos, The Witch, and Nick Joaquin's May Day Eve. They underscores how local narratives engage with and subvert these imported stereotypes. By examining characters like Mingay and Agueda, the authors reveal the complex interplay between indigenous beliefs and, of course, colonial influences and the construction of gendered identities. And so much more, the article also rightly points out how the Spanish and later American colonizers brought with them their own aversion to witchcraft and sorcery, further shaping the perception of women in Filipino society. One of the strengths of this analysis is its emphasis on the agency of women within these post-colonial narratives. Despite being marginalized and stigmatized as witches, the female characters in these stories often exhibit resilience and resistance and a desire to reclaim their identities. This aligns with post-colonial theories focused on the ways in which colonized subjects negotiate and challenge dominant power structures. And of course, The article also touches on the syncretism between pre-colonial beliefs and imposed Christian values, which resulted in a hybrid cosmology that continues to influence Filipino culture. And ultimately, this article serves as a reminder of the lasting impact of colonialism on cultural perceptions and gender dynamics. By examining the adaptation of medieval European witchcraft narratives in Philippine literature, the authors provide valuable insights into the ongoing struggle for identity and self-determination in a post-colonial world. It encourages us to critically imagine or examine the ways in which historical power imbalances continue to shape our understanding of gender, culture, and identity in the present day. And moreover, as an English teacher, integrating post-colonial theory into or in my English classroom can empower my students to connect their own experiences to a broader historical and social context. Many students from post-colonial backgrounds have personal or let's say familial connections to the legacies of colonialisms such as displacement, cultural loss, and systemic inequality. By exploring these themes in literature, I know that students can gain a deeper understanding of their own identities and develop a sense of solidarity with others who have been similarly affected. This can be a powerful tool for promoting healing, resilience, and social justice. It also helps students to recognize the ongoing impact of colonialism in the present day. And in addition to fostering critical awareness and personal connection, a post-colonial approach can also enhance students' intercultural competence. As the world becomes increasingly interconnected, it is essential for students to develop the ability to communicate and collaborate effectively with people from diverse cultural backgrounds. By engaging with post-colonial literature and theory, students can learn to appreciate different perspectives, challenge their own assumptions, and develop empathy for others. This prepares them to be responsible global citizens who can contribute to building a more just and equitable world. It also equips them with the skills they needed to succeed in a diverse and competitive workforce. And in conclusion, a post-colonial oriented approach to teaching English language and literature is essential for fostering critical thinking, cultural sensitivity, and social justice. By deconstructing Eurocentric biases, challenging problematic presentation or representations, connecting personal experiences to broader context, and enhancing intercultural competence, we can empower students to become agents of positive change. As educators, of course, we must embrace this approach to create a more inclusive and equitable learning environment that prepares students to navigate the complexities of a post-colonial world. This commitment to post-colonial pedagogy is not just an academic exercise, but a moral imperative. To everyone, thank you so much for listening. And to Doc Magan, thank you so much for having me in your class. It's an honor to be your student and you becoming my teacher. Thank you, Doc, and God bless. Merry Christmas.